Alright guys, welcome back to the shop. This is going to be a little different. I don't really do a lot of day in the life kind of videos. I'm kind of more of a how-to guy. But so this is going to be a day in the life. I have been invited to a classic car show, car meet, hangout, whatever you want to call it. And well, my classic car is a wreck. So we're going to take some of these classic three-wheelers out there, and they know I'm coming. And so we're going to take 3 or 4, whatever we can fit in the trailer. And so yeah, watch me work. Hey guys, you know, you got an alternative to just ordering these China carburetors for these things. I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, you get what you pay for. But that being said, you don't have to buy a brand new carburetor. If you have the original carburetor off your ATC 70, you can send it in to Curtie at 223cycles.net and he will work his magic on it. Let me show you what he sent me. Now this is not a new carburetor. This is an original ATC 70 carburetor that he always includes little stickers too. He's the best. This is an original ATC 70 carburetor that he has worked his magic on. Now I know it looks new. Actually, I think it looks a little better than new. I've seen a couple of these new. But this is probably the best option out there next to buying a brand new carburetor. Look at that thing. That is the closest thing to man jewelry I think you're gonna find. Curtie's outdone himself again. But we have an original carburetor, a key-in carburetor here that Curtie's worked his magic on. It's ready to go right out of the box. It just don't get no easier than this. And if you look here, this one's already got a block-off valve here on the petcock. A lot of y'all don't want to run the 2 lines and the 2 filters, and I get it. It just doesn't look that good. This petcock already has one of the ports blocked off, so you don't even have to worry about that. He's already taken care of it for you. So let's get some wrenches. We're going to throw this on the machine and get it fired up. The shop is a real mess, so sorry. I am trying to get ready for a show tomorrow. I'm going to take a handful of these and load them up tonight and get ready. And first thing in the morning, we're going to go out, and I really want to take the ATC 70. I kind of want to ride it around like a pit bike. I know that's how a lot of y'all use your ATC 70s. All right, let's get our tank out of here so y'all can see a little bit easier. There's nothing worse than fighting with an old carburetor. And this is just an option. I got to tell you, I went through this original carburetor and it was just beyond me. It needed to go to Curtie. It needed a professional to look at it. I cleaned it. I put a kit in it. I missed something. It happens. And so it's great that there's a service out there. This is just 2 bolts, you guys. I mean, it's just that simple, and it's ready to go. Now, it does get a little tight in here. Go ahead and get your gasket started there. And it only goes one way. There we go. Like with most things, this is a 10 millimeter. It's the industry standard. And that's it. It's just that simple. I mean, it's really just a no-brainer. Reach out to Curtie. Let him know. Go to his website, www.223cycles.net. Send your carburetor into him, and you'll get it back a lot quicker than you think. Well, that was easy. I need one of those buttons. If you don't do a lot of these, this is your factory cable here. And the way this goes together is pretty straightforward. You want to take your cap with this little rubber isolator on the top. It's an insulator. It keeps dirt and debris from getting down into your carburetor. Slide that on first. Be sure that bottom's out. You can hold the cable here and pull on it. Make sure that cable, the outer casing, goes all the way in, and there's a metal barrel, if you will, or a guide that it bottoms out into. Make sure that bottoms out in there, and then I kind of turn it around like so. Take my spring and insert it here, and just kind of hold it with my left hand. I'm going to run out of fingers here until you leave just a little bit of the cable out. Take your slide here, and I'll take the slide, and you'll see the hole there in the top. Insert the barrel into the slide and then pull it down, and as you see, the spring will just slide right into its home down into the slide. Just kind of check it before you let go of it, because once you let go of it, it's there. And then what I like to do is I'll come over to the throttle, and I'll just move the throttle with my thumb, and I'll make sure that I have positive engagement, plenty of throw in and out, forward and backwards, that spring is pushing that cable out. It's not bound up. Now, here's the next thing. On this particular carburetor, and they all vary, the Fast idle adjustment is right here underneath this little hose here. We're not really gonna have to mess with it, but I want you to know where it is. It's on the left side of the carburetor as you're sitting on the machine. Make sure that screw, whatever side it's on, that this ramp on your slide is on the same side as that screw. What happens is to turn the idle up and down, as you run that screw in, it goes into that ramp, which raises the needle, in essence giving it more fuel. You back the screw out, then the slide goes down, takes fuel away. So you want to make sure that that's on the proper side of the barrel. Once you figure that out, you're only going to go one of two ways. Now, if you start your machine and it revs wide open and you have no control over it, more than likely you've put that little barrel in 180 degrees out. You've got it on the wrong side of the carburetor. All right, just snug with your fingers. This is your line. You want to wrap it up, kind of keep it out of the way. Remember, your gas tank's going to sit over this. Now, before I get away from my carburetor here, what I want to do is I want to hear the throttle. I want to hear the slide bottom out. Hear that little tap, tap? That's the slide bottoming out in the carburetor. So I know right now that when this machine fires up, the throttle is all the way down, the idle's as low as it can possibly go. If we do need to make an adjustment, we will adjust this particular screw right here, the one we talked about earlier. Turning it in or clockwise will cause the idle to increase. Turning it counterclockwise or backing it out will cause the idle to decrease. And that is all there is to it to putting a carburetor on. We've got a new air filter, and to get our air filter housing, we're going to put it on next. And our tank is still drying. Our tank has been sitting, it's been resting for about 3 days now in Metal Rescue. The tank, let me show it to you. Now, this is an original ATC 70 tank. Like I said, it's been soaking in Metal Rescue for about 3 days. Look at the inside of the tank. It looks brand new, but it's really not. This tank has seen better days. If we look on the bottom here, the first telltale sign was our paint. See how the paint turned really orange where it looks like it got hot? Well, it did. Somebody brazed the underside of this tank, and that's not a bad thing. It's better than the alternative. So what had happened is this tank had rusted out right through here somewhere in its life. And you know, a lot of guys would have put JB Weld there for tanks, or tank repair by JB Weld or something like that. And those products, they tend to work for a while, but they're not a long-term fix. If you know somebody that can braze, this is a much better repair than JB Weld or tank repair. But you also have to keep in mind that whoever brazed this was brazing against metal that was probably thinner and probably already had some rust on it. So that's why, even though the tank looked good on the inside, I wanted to go ahead and clean it out. I didn't want to run trashy fuel through Curtie's carburetor. And so I took the time to go ahead and let this set about 2 or 3 days, I guess it was, through Metal Rescue, and I'm just letting it dry a little bit more before we put it back together. Word to the wise, if you see a tank that's discolored like this down one side or wherever, more than likely it's gotten hot. You need to investigate. And like I said, the brazing is a great way to fix it. It's an old school way of fixing things. I like it. I have no issue with it as long as it doesn't leak. And like I said, this has been resting for 3 days completely full and not a drop has come out of it. But I will tell you, these little black specks, right here in front of my fingers, that's the beginning of more rust. So the inside of this tank is more than likely still rusting. And we're gonna run it as long as we can. I like the original tank. It saves us a few dollars and it gets us a little further down the road. They do make these tanks. Sagewood Tires is a company that they started out in tires, and they started reproducing the original tires for these 3-wheelers. And they also started branching out and making handlebars and grab bars, and now they are making ATC 70 tanks. Big red tanks, a 250 ES tank. I believe Matt says they have one of those in production. I don't think it's open to the public yet at the time of this filming, but I have seen a picture of one. It looks really cool. So if you're in the market for a tank, y'all check out Sagewood Tires, SERWA Tires. Let's get some tools. Let's get this intake put back together, and let's put this puppy back down on the ground. I've got a lot of work to do tonight. All right, guys, y'all remember it was smoking before? Yeah, there you go. Outstanding, just coming together, man. I can't tell you how impressed I am with that carburetor. I think the idle may be a tad high. Check it out. 1985, the last year of the ATC 70. Got our new carb on there, rebuilt, original carburetor from Curtie, amazing as always. Best in the business, guys. Remember the tank when we brought it in? It was a little rusty on the inside. I used a product called Metal Rescue. There's a link in the description. I put the entire gallon in it for 3 days. I periodically would come over and slosh it around a little bit. That's the reason I have the big filter on there now. It's just in case I've missed anything. First couple of runs, we'll change that filter out a couple times. But yeah, our seat from Vito's Performance, nice fit. Check out Vito's Performance, www.vitosperformance.com. As always, the best in the business, Curtie at 223cycles.net. Check them out, guys. They make these things possible to enjoy again. Outstanding. All right, I got a lot of work to do.